Alright, so today we're going to talk about how to solve a proportional relationship. But first thing we need to look at is how are two things proportional or not? So take a look at these two ratios. 3/9 and 12/36. And we want to know whether or not these two ratios are proportional. Now, there's a few ways we can look at it. I could reduce each of those ratios to see if it's proportional or not. Or I could do this little trick that I have, and it goes like this. If you cross multiply, so 3 times 36, and 3 times 36 is 108, and cross multiply this way, so we're kind of making a little x there, 9 times 12, I also get 108. And because 108 equals 108, these two are proportional. Now, try this one. 2/5 and 6/14. Why don't you pause the video and you try to see if these two are proportional. Alright, well if you did it right, you multiplied 2 times 14 and you got 28. You multiplied 5 and 6 and you got 30. Since 28 does not equal 30, obviously, this is non-proportional. Okay, so where does that take us to? That takes us to our definition of what is a proportion. And I think I'm going to type this out for you because it'll look a little neater if I do that. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent if, and now I've got to kind of do this here, if A over B equals C over D. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios or rates are equivalent if A over B equals C over D. In a proportion, the cross products are also equal. So in A over B equals C over D, if I cross multiply, then AD will equal BC. So where does the whole cross products concept come in handy? Well, let's say I gave you x over 4 equals 9 over 10. And I said find x. And these two ratios are equal because I'm telling you they're equal and I'm telling you they make a proportion. So if I was to cross multiply, I would get 10x equals 4/9. Nope, not 4/9. 4 times 9, which is 36. Well, to solve this, I'm going to divide both sides by the number next to x. So I'll divide both sides by 10. So those 10s cancel out. I get the x. And 36 divided by 10 is 3.6. So now I know that 3.6 over 4 equals 9/10. So here, let me give you two of them to try. I would like you to try 2 over 34 equals 5 over y, and 7 over 3 equals n over 21. Would you please pause the video and try to solve these two proportions on your own? All right, let's see how well you did with this. Start with 2 times y and I get 2y. 34 times 5 is 170. Divide both sides by 2 and I get y equals 85. And so there's the first one solved. In the second one, 3 times n is 3n. 7 times 21 is 147. Divide both sides by the number next to the variable, in this case by 3. And I'll get n is equal to 49. Now, sometimes I'm not going to give it to you just at straight proportion. Sometimes I might give it to you as a word problem. So take a look at this. If the ratio of type, oh, wow, let's see if I could type O blood donors to non-type O donors at a blood drive is 37 to 43. How many donors would be type O out of 300 donors? All right, so once again, if the ratio of type O blood donors to non-type O donors at a blood drive is 37 to 43, how many would be type O out of 300 donors? Well, let's think about something. I want to know what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is how many type O out of 300 donors. So I don't know how many type O, so I'm going to make that x over 300. So I want x over 300. But I want to know, I know that there are 37 out of 37 to 43. Well, 37 are type O. So 37 will go on top because whatever I put on top has to be the same, and whatever I put on bottom has to be the same. So 37 type O donors to 300 total donors. Well, 43 is not the total. 43 was how many non-type O. So how many total donors did I know about? Well, 37 and 43, that gives me 80. So again, if you think about it, I want to know how many type O out of 300 total donors. So that's x out of 300 equals how many type O donors, 37 out of the total amount of donors was 80. So 37 to 80. Now cross multiply. X times 80 is 80x. 300 times 37 is 11,100. If I divide both sides by 80. I get x is equal to 138.75. Well, I can't have 0.75 of a donor. So what I do is I round it, and I don't want to really, I can estimate, I can either round up or down, but in this case, I'm going to say that there's 138 donors because I don't want to round up because then I think there's too many. All right, let's see if you could do this one. I want you to do this one on your own. Melvin purchased 8 t-shirts for $64. Melvin purchased 8 t-shirts for $64. Oh my gosh. Write a proportion, sorry, that was a bell going off. Write a proportion relating the cost to the number of t-shirts. Then turn it into an equation. Okay, so if that's what I'm looking to do, Melvin purchased 8 t-shirts. 8 t-shirts, so the number of t-shirts is 8, over the total cost is 64. So that would be the number of t-shirts I bought over the cost of the t-shirts. So now I can do my cross multiplying here, and I get 64t equals 8c. But that's one equation, but I want to know the equation for the total cost of the t-shirts. So I think what I'm going to do is divide it by 64. And I find out that the total cost of the t-shirts, oops, sorry, I did that backwards. Let me erase that. I want the total cost, which is C, so I'll divide both sides by 8. That's better. So I find out that the C is equal to 8 times the number of t-shirts that I bought. Okay, I'm going to leave you with 2 problems here, and I would like you to solve both of these problems. The first one is 41 over x equals 5/2. So I want you to solve that one. Then I want you to solve this one here. That didn't do what I wanted to do. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Solve this one here, which says Olivia typed 2 pages in 15 minutes. At this rate, how long would it take her to type 10 pages? Oops, go back, there we go. All right, so would you do these 2 and we will go over them in class. See you then.